Would you rather tell them you're able to do 1 rep at 200 kilograms, even though you're kind of bringing in all these sort of extra muscles, or would you rather just whip off your top and show them your chest and they look at it like, well, man, you've got the greatest chest I've ever seen in my entire life? Simon the Board A-Hole here. Thank you for joining me as always on this Saturday, where we like to break down the fitness world into list form. And as of late, I believe lots of people are over-relying on certain popular exercises, whereas really, you don't need to do them. And when I say you don't need to do them, what I should actually say is that you can do them, and you should do them, but just do them in the right way, because the way people are doing them at the moment makes them 6 massively overrated upper body exercise. And then at 6, all your jaws are going to hit the floor, because we're talking about the bench press. And this really comes down to how individuals use it, because I don't believe anybody actually uses it correctly. I would also go as far to say that I think an incline press is better, even if you're using a machine or a hammer strength machine. And also, what every single person does is they get into the gym, the Fitness Palace of Love, and they just put so much weight on the bench press that actually they're probably engaging their deltoids and their triceps more, because they have decided, if I don't do 192 kilograms on the bench press, I don't deserve to be here, and I don't want to be that guy. That's absolute nonsense. And 9 times out of 10, if you actually reduce the weight, focused on your form, focused on your range of motion, and don't do this weird like cuckoo thing, and go all the way down and all the way up, then you're engaging your chest, then you're engaging your pecs. But again, because you are going to be tempted to go the other way, there's a bunch of alternatives that will actually serve you better than this. So what I would actually do is focus on a dumbbell press instead, because just by its nature, you're probably not going to be able to lift as much, although you will be able to lift more because you have weights independent in each hand. But your range of motion is better, and because you can kind of come down lower with it, you're also going to get a better stretch in your pectoral muscles. So I'm not saying you can't do a bench press. I'm not saying that you shouldn't focus on the bench press, but if you are, do not go crazy with it. I know everyone walks around to everybody else going, how much do you bench, man? But who cares? Would you rather tell them you're able to do 1 rep at 200 kilograms, even though you're kind of bringing in all these sort of extra muscles, or would you rather just whip off your top and show them your chest and they look at it like, well, man, you've got the greatest chest I've ever seen in my entire life? I mean, look, you can pick one. It may be the former. It may be the latter. I just do not think people use the bench press in the best way, and they just put too much load on their overall body, because it is a dangerous exercise. You are laying down and you're picking heavy weights up above your head. Doesn't sound like a very safe thing to me. And then number 5, squats. Now, squats are awesome, and they should be part of any regular routine. However, with that said, we're kind of going back to what we just talked about. Everybody wants to go super heavy on squats to the point their form suffers. And if you actually watch what people do, is they focus more on their glutes, they focus more on their ass than they do their quads and the rest of their legs. And I'm going to hazard a guess that if you are doing squats, what you're trying to do is increase your leg size. And if all of a sudden you're walking around with a massive bum, well, maybe you'll be happy. But I naturally have a massive bum, and am I happy? No, I'm not. That's why I think they're overrated, because I don't think anybody is actually doing them properly. Well, I say everyone. There is a vast amount of people probably watching this that may not be doing properly. So just try something different in order to hone in on your legs more specifically. There's a V squat, look it up, it's amazing. There's a pendulum squat, look it up, it's amazing. Or what's going to be most common in probably your gym is the hack squat. Now, I'm not saying that a hack squat replicates a barbell squat like for like, because it doesn't. When you put the barbell on your back and you go all the way down or all the way up, you're going to be hitting stabilizer muscles. Your upper body is going to come into play, hence why I've included it in this list, even though you could argue it's more of a lower body exercise. Well, it is, but you take my point. But if you want to see increases in your quads, your hamstrings, and things like that, I think just for a 6-week period, removing the barbell squat and bringing something in like a hack squat, where you actually probably can go heavier just because of the way that the machine is built, is actually going to allow you to have more progress. Now, again, after those 6 weeks, maybe you want to bring back in the back squat while also retaining the hack squat. But at the very least, I'd give it a go. And we move on to 4, the barbell bicep curl. Or most kind of bicep curls with a bar, and you're going to find that I'm repeating myself here, but once again, you load up the bar too much, you throw your range of motion and your form right out the window, and what most people do is they forget to lock their elbows. So all of a sudden they're flaring out with their elbows, which is going to bring your deltoids in, and surprise, surprise, if you're doing a barbell curl while also using your deltoids, you're taking the stress off your biceps, and the clue is in the name. Now look, you can carry on with them, but just be smart and don't put yourself in any kind of danger. But also make sure you're incorporating something like a preacher curl. So when you do a preacher curl, you know, you have that pad and you kind of put your arms over it and you start curling. It is just a natural way to put your body in a state where you are going to isolate the biceps. So I can only guess here, You may have a very different routine to the way I like to approach the gym, but on bicep day, or whenever your training day is that you work your biceps, you want to leave thinking, oh wow, I worked my bicep and now my arms are going to look a little bit bigger. And that's going to be less so if instead you're bringing your shoulder into play. So again, you can do your bicep curls, that's absolutely fine, but do your preacher curls as well. I think preacher curls for me are probably the best isolation exercise for biceps. I say this as I look around. Loads of people say concentration curls, but this is going to tie into something we'll talk about in just a little bit. I've never got anything out of concentration curls. I can do it with heavy weight, I can do it with light weight, I can do it with medium weight. I never get much of a pump, and it just doesn't connect with me, and it could be my problem, but you should do this as well as far as I'm concerned. When you do come across an exercise, and when you finish it, you're like, man, I didn't do anything, just get rid of it. Like, you're an individual, you're your own human being, and just because Brad down the road gets a great pump and a great connection from concentration curls, doesn't mean that you're going to as well. Doesn't stand to reason. You came out of different wombs. Which does bring us to dumbbell tricep extensions, which is when you take a dumbbell and you do this for the rest of your life. And it's exactly what we just talked about. It does nothing for me. I have tried this every which way, and I've read so many articles saying, oh man, what a great exercise. This is so good for your triceps. And you'll always sit in every gym. And in fact, when most people move on to triceps, it is the dumbbell tricep extension that they will do. But I'm done with it. I've retired it. I've moved on from it because there's other things I can do where I actually feel like I'm working my tricep, such as a skull crusher. Now, so many people say actually they don't feel it with the skull crusher, but again, you're going to have to figure that out for yourself. And what really sort of brought me over the line when it came to skull crushers is I used to do them to my skull. So they'd be here and I'd be headbutting it. Actually, no. If you bring it to where my bald spot is and you do it that way, not only can you get a better engagement on the triceps, but when you get to the top of the movement, don't go too far. Try and keep it in a little bit of an arc. When you flex your triceps, you are really going to feel it. And if you can kind of keep that flex when you're doing the negative rep and then come back up again, I promise you, you are going to have mega DOMs the next day when you wake up. So it could just be me working my triceps each side simultaneously is better. But dumbbell tricep extensions, so many times I go back to it thinking, I've got to do them, I've got to do them, I've got to do them. But they suck for me. Now, it doesn't mean they're going to suck for you, but I'm happy to flick them away and happy to put them in a list of overrated exercises because I think that's overrated. So is the dumbbell kickback. We've done a whole video on that, so I'm not going to do it again. I'd throw it out the window. I think it sucks. So I think I've totally screwed the numbers up, but I am a moron. So we shall move on to number 2. It's meant to be number 2, and we're talking about Olympic lifts. Now, with the sort of popularity increase in CrossFit, so many people want to do snatches and clean and jerks, and I think that's awesome. I truly do. They are a cool exercise to bring into a routine because they do take focus and they take a tremendous amount of skill and they're absolutely going to help your strength. But I personally don't think you're going to all of a sudden pile on a ton of mass by doing Olympic lifts. Because again, go and watch weightlifting in the Olympics. You get tiny guys and girls who can lift an incredible amount of weight because they're naturally strong, but they've got the technique down. And somehow, this always happens when something becomes popular, it's kind of become thrown into a big messy platter of goodness, or badness in this instance, where people think that actually doing Olympic lifts is good even if you're just going for an aesthetic image, I suppose. Like, you want to look like a bodybuilder. You're not going to look like a bodybuilder, but that's what you're going for. You're going for the big traps, a big chest, and a big back. I don't think you're going to get that by doing snatches and clean and jerks. Now, if you want to do it because you enjoy it, keep it up, because enjoying the gym is the most important thing in the world. But if you are overly heading down that path and you only have a certain amount of time in the gym, you should flick them away too, because there's a bunch of other movements that you can do that are going to build mass, such as a deadlift or, I don't know, a shoulder press. Like, you can take the individual parts and actually focus on them as if they are isolated exercises. That is going to do a lot more from you. This basically comes from somebody messaging me the other day saying, Simon, should I be doing Olympic lifts in terms of trying to put on mass? And I thought about it and I was like, no. That's the complete opposite of what you want to do. Want to stress and make it very, very clear. I'm not saying that you should kick them out altogether if you get something from them, but from a very basic level, I don't think they're very good mass builders at all. And we end with number 1 and the seated shoulder press or military press, whatever the hell you want to call it. And straight up, I would just go do a push press instead. This is when you go into a squat rack and you put the barbell quite high and then you put it on your shoulders and you push from your hips and your waist, I suppose. You put it up in the air, you control it, you bring it back down. You're basically doing a barbell shoulder press, but it's got a bit more oomph to it. And the reason I think that dumbbell shoulder press is overrated is because of the risk that's involved. Because everybody wants to go heavy, right? Nobody wants to be doing 10s. Everybody wants to be doing 30. So someone who looks over and they see you've got 230 kilograms in your hand, like, wow, this guy is so cool. But unless you've got a spotter or somebody to help you, and even then it's a little bit of a palaver, you have to take 60 kilograms off the floor, onto your knees, go hop, hop, put it up here. So you've already exerted a tremendous amount of energy, and then, you try and rep it over your head, and because it is a lot of weight, or it is a lot, it doesn't matter what it is, whatever the weight may be, that is heavy for you, you're wibbling and you're wobbling, and I just do not think people push it as hard as they think they actually are, especially when there's other exercises you can do that take this initial setup away. We've already talked about one, the push press. The bar is just wobbling there, waiting for you to grab it, so I would always lean on this side of things. Now, if you have a good technique to this, and you are doing it in the right way, you have a support system that allows you to get it up, maybe you have like a couple of hooks, I suppose, that are suspended in midair that you're able to do that with, sure, keep on doing it. But the amount of people I see that try to lift way too much weight with a seated shoulder press and then look like they're about to fall over and die is way too many. And again, while it does feel cool to lift that much weight, I totally get it. We are trying to achieve muscle hypertrophy here. Can never say that word. You don't just want to walk away going, I was kind of strong today, just because you tried to lift a couple of heavy weights. You want to walk away feeling exhausted. And in many ways, you want to walk away feeling crap because you pushed yourself to such a degree. That is doubly true on leg day. And I don't know, I just think this one takes you down the wrong path. So I would shelve it for a little bit. I would try other things. And sure, if you start thinking to yourself, actually, I did prefer those, bring them back in. But my gut tells me you may not. Now, please do like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Hit the bell ding dings. Other videos are going live. There will be a video on the screen. Please do give it a click. Otherwise, leave a comment below. It's always appreciated. GorillaMind.com/Simon. Just go to Simon to get 10% off. I love their supplements. I use them. Patreon.com/Simon316 for exclusive videos that have started again this week. Thank goodness. On Instagram and Twitter at Simon316. No merchandise at the moment on Cameo. And I believe that is everything. More importantly, thank you very much for your time. Have a great day. Have a great gym session. And have a great night's sleep, because that's important. See you soon.